a long cinematic true crime story inspired by real events. Prologue. A city that felt safe, Wichita, Kansas. The 1970s were a different time. People trusted their neighbors. Kids rode bicycles until sunset. Front doors were sometimes left unlocked. Families believed evil existed somewhere else, in big cities, in movies, in newspapers. Not here. Not in Wichita. But while ordinary people went about their lives, a man was quietly watching from the shadows. A man who blended perfectly into society. A man who looked so ordinary that nobody suspected him. His name was Dennis Rader, and for decades he'll become one of America's most notorious serial killers. The world would eventually know him by 3 horrifying letters: BTK, bind, torture, kill. Chapter 1. The Birth of a Monster. Dennis Lynn Rader was born on March 9, 1945 in Kansas. To outsiders, his childhood appeared normal. There were no obvious warning signs that one day he would terrorize an entire city. Yet beneath the surface, disturbing fantasies were developing. Years later, investigators would learn that Rader spent much of his youth fascinated by power, control, and domination. While other children dreamed about sports, adventure, or future careers, Dennis was building dark fantasies inside his mind. Those fantasies grew stronger as he got older. By adulthood, he had learned something important. He could hide them, and he became very good at hiding. He served in the military. He worked jobs. He married. He became a father. To everyone around him, he seemed like an average American man. But behind that ordinary appearance lived a dangerous secret. Chapter 2. January 15th, 1974. The Otero family never knew they were being watched. For weeks, maybe months, someone had been studying their routines, learning their schedules, planning, waiting. Then came January 15th, 1974. A cold winter morning. The Otero family was at home. Dennis Rader entered the house. What followed shocked even experienced detectives. When police arrived, they discovered a horrifying scene. 4 members of the family had been murdered. The city was stunned. Neighbors couldn't believe such violence had happened in their quiet community. Reporters flooded the area. Police launched a massive investigation. But there was a problem. Almost no one knew who they were hunting. The killer seemed to have vanished into thin air. Chapter 3. Fear arrives in Wichita. Months later, another attack occurred. Then another. The pattern became impossible to ignore. Someone was hunting people. Someone was selecting victims. Someone was enjoying the fear. Residents started changing their routines. People installed better locks. Families checked windows before bed. Women carried fear with them everywhere they went. Every strange noise became suspicious. Every shadow felt threatening. Every knock at the door caused anxiety. The city was living inside a nightmare, and nobody knew when it would end. Chapter 4. The killer wants attention. Most criminals avoid publicity. Dennis Rader wanted it. He craved attention. He wanted people talking about him. He wanted police chasing him. He wanted the media discussing him. In 1974, letters began appearing. The writer described crimes that only the murderer could know about. Investigators realized they were communicating directly with the killer. Then he gave himself a name: BTK, bind, torture, kill. The nickname instantly became infamous. Newspapers printed it. Television stations reported it. The entire country heard it. The killer had successfully turned himself into a terrifying mystery, and that was exactly what he wanted. Chapter 5. The Double Life. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of the BTK case was how normal Dennis Rader appeared. While police searched desperately for a monster, Rader was living an ordinary life. He attended church. He participated in community activities. He worked regular jobs. He talked with neighbors. He raised children. People trusted him. Some even respected him. Nobody imagined the truth. Imagine shaking hands with a serial killer and never realizing it. Imagine sitting next to him at church. Imagine waving to him across the street. That was the reality for many people. The monster wasn't hiding in a cave. He wasn't living in isolation. He was living among everyone else. Chapter 6. The Investigation. Years turned into decades. The investigation became one of the largest in Kansas history. Thousands of interviews. Thousands of pieces of evidence. Countless hours of detective work. Police followed lead after lead. Every promising suspect eventually turned out to be innocent. Frustration grew. Officers retired. New investigators joined the case. The BTK file became enormous. Some detectives spent significant portions of their careers chasing a killer they could never catch. At times it seemed impossible. It felt as if BTK had disappeared forever. Chapter 7: Silence. Then something strange happened. The murders stopped. Years passed, then more years. No new attacks, no letters, no communication, nothing. People wondered if BTK had died. Others believed he had moved away. Some feared he was simply waiting. The mystery deepened. As the years passed, many younger residents knew BTK only as a frightening story from the past. The case slowly became a cold case, unsolved, forgotten by many, but not by everyone, and certainly not by Dennis Rader. Chapter 8. The fatal mistake in 2004. After years of silence, BTK suddenly returned. The killer began sending communications again. He wanted attention, he wanted recognition, he wanted the spotlight. But the world had changed. Technology had advanced, forensic science had improved, DNA testing was more powerful, digital evidence existed. Rader believed he could outsmart investigators. After all, he had done it for decades. His confidence grew, and confidence often creates mistakes. One communication involved a computer disk. Rader believed the disk could not be traced. He was wrong, very wrong. Investigators examined the metadata. The information pointed toward a church. Further investigation led them toward a specific individual. Dennis Rader. For the first time, detectives had something solid. The ghost was becoming real. Chapter 9. The trap closes. Once Rader became a suspect, evidence started piling up. Investigators compared DNA. They reviewed old records. They examined communications. The pieces fit together. Every new discovery strengthened the case. Finally, authorities knew they had him. After 30 years of fear, frustration, and unanswered questions, the hunt was nearly over. The hunter had become the hunted. Chapter 10. February 25, 2005. The arrest happened quietly. No dramatic movie chase. No escape attempt. Police stopped Dennis Rader while he was driving. The serial killer who had terrified Wichita for decades was suddenly in custody. When the news broke, shock spread throughout the community. People couldn't believe it. Neighbors were stunned. Friends were speechless. Church members were horrified. Many asked the same question: how could someone like him do this? Because Dennis Rader didn't look like a monster. He looked ordinary. That was the frightening part. Now, Chapter 11. The Confession. After his arrest, Rader eventually confessed. The details revealed during court proceedings were deeply disturbing. Investigators finally learned how long he had planned his crimes, how carefully he had stalked victims, how much effort he had put into avoiding detection. Families finally received answers they had waited decades to hear. The mystery was over, but the pain remained. Nothing could bring victims back. Nothing could erase years of fear, yet at least the truth was known. Chapter 12. The Legacy of BTK. Today, the BTK case remains one of the most infamous criminal investigations in American history. Not because the killer was a criminal mastermind, not because he possessed supernatural abilities, but because he successfully hid behind normality. He showed how dangerous appearances can be. The lesson still haunts investigators today. Monsters do not always look like monsters. Sometimes they wear suits, sometimes they attend church, sometimes they smile, sometimes they live next door. For more than 30 years, Dennis Rader fooled almost everyone around him. But eventually, every secret leaves a trail. Every lie creates a crack. Every predator makes a mistake. And when Dennis Rader made his mistake, decades of darkness finally came to an end. The city of Wichita slowly healed. Families continued forward. Life moved on. But the story remains. A reminder that evil can hide in plain sight. A reminder that patience and determination can solve even the coldest cases. And a reminder that one of America's longest-running manhunts ended not with violence, but with a simple truth. No matter how long someone hides in the shadows, eventually the light catches up.